Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football. I am Bryce Lockridge, your host of the show. Guys, day by day, we are getting closer to football season. It is almost here, July 11th. I'm super pumped. I know you guys are as well. I am ready for training camp to start. I'm ready for some juicy fantasy football news. I want to see where DeAndre Hopkins goes. I want to see where Dalvin Cook goes. And you know that the minute that these things happen, I'm going to be at y'all with breaking news on the matter. But today, what we're going to be talking about is my 5 must-own wide receivers for this season. Now, before we get into today's video, I would like to set a likes goal for this video, okay? So what I'm going to go ahead and do for you guys is if I can get 200 likes on this video, that's my goal, 200 likes. If I can get 200 likes on this video, I'm going to go ahead and post a piece of fantasy football content every single day this week. So that's more fantasy football content for you guys. Now, the last time I did this, I got 200 likes on the video, but I set a goal of getting 200 likes and 2,000 views, and I fell short of the 2,000 views, and I got the 200 likes, so I felt kind of bad. So I'm not going to set a goal as far as views. The only goal is likes. If we can get this to 200 likes, I'm posting a video every single day this week. But without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into my top 5 must-own wide receivers for this fantasy season. And I'm going to start right here with the very first player on my list, and that is Quentin Johnson. Now, Quentin Johnson is a guy who is 6'3", 200 pounds, runs a 4.5. He has a very similar athletic profile to Mike Williams. That's why I think it's funny that they're in the same offense, because when it comes to size and speed and just their overall athletic profile, they're just incredibly similar. And you got to ask yourself this question. Do you expect Keenan Allen and Mike Williams to both stay healthy all season long? Both of them. Odds are one of them is going to be out and miss significant time. It happens every single season. Now, I don't like to predict injuries because they can be random, but odds are one of these guys is going to be out at some point. And when that happens, Quentin Johnson is going to absolutely explode. And even before they go out, look, Keenan Allen is 31 years old, right? He's an older wide receiver. Mike Williams is getting older. Quentin Johnson is the young talent on the team. He could end up being Justin Herbert's favorite wide receiver this season, even if Keenan Allen and Mike Williams don't get hurt. Now, odds are Keenan Allen's going to be the wide receiver one in this offense as far as targets. But guess who's going to get all the downfield targets, all the deep targets? Mike Williams and Quentin Johnson. And there is a chance that Quentin Johnson just straight up beats Mike Williams out of that alpha male deep threat, alpha X stud wide receiver role where he's getting all the downfield targets and the majority of the bombs in this very high scoring offense. And there's going to be so many touchdowns to go around in this offense that every single wide receiver is going to have a tremendously high weekly ceiling. So for best ball formats, this guy is absolutely awesome, especially considering the fact that you could get Justin Herbert and stack him with Justin Herbert at a very good value because Justin Herbert is also going later in drafts than he should be. So not only is Quentin Johnson valuable on his own, he's even more valuable because you can get the stack, the quarterback wide receiver stack at a very good value right now in underdog drafts and in your everyday redraft leagues. And that always makes the wide receiver more valuable when you can stack them at, with their quarterback and get their quarterback at a good value. So Quentin Johnson is a money play this year. He's going to be one of the biggest league winners in all of fantasy. So I love Quentin Johnson this season. He is a must-own wide receiver. Next player on my list is going to be George Pickens. Now, very similar athletic profile to Quentin Johnson, 6'3", 200 pounds. He's a little bit faster, runs a 4.47. This dude is tremendously athletic. He's one of the best athletes in this league. He has unbelievable raw, untapped ability. And, last year we just didn't see it because he only had a 15.6% team target share. But what we have to keep in mind is a lot of that was when Mitch Trubisky was playing. Whenever Kenny Pickett stepped in, George Pickens was clearly his favorite target. So considering the fact that Kenny Pickett is going to be starting this season as the team's number one quarterback, I love George Pickens this year. This dude saw 28 deep targets last year. So even though the overall target share wasn't quite what we wanted it to be, he was still getting targeted a lot downfield. So if he could be top 7 in the league in deep targets in a season where he only gets a 15.6% team target share, he could very well lead the league in deep targets and air yards this year if that target share goes up to even 20%. And in the best case scenario, it's going to go up to like 25% because Kenny Pickett clearly favors George Pickens. We know that wide receivers break out in the sophomore season. This dude is primed for a second-year breakout. Dude's about to go off. You can get him at a great value. This dude is a must-own wide receiver. Next player on my list is going to be Brandon Cooks. Now, Brandon Cooks, you look at his NFL career, right? He's one of the older receivers that I'm going to have on this list. But look, 6 out of his last 9 seasons, he's had over 1,000 receiving yards. 6 out of his 9 seasons in the NFL, he has had over 1,000 receiving yards. This is very impressive. Now, this dude, I still think he has another good year or two in him. Obviously, he's getting a little bit older. He's going to be 30 this year, but, he's not a running back. Wide receivers can still be extremely dominant at the age of 30. They usually don't fall off until 31, 32. So I think that Brandon Cooks has another good year, maybe 2 more good years in him. And he's now being put in what's arguably the best offense he's ever been in. I mean, obviously, some of those Rams offenses that he played in, like the year they went to the Super Bowl, were really impressive. I mean, that was a very good offense, but this Cowboys offense might be the best offense that Brandon Cooks will have ever played in his career. And he was putting up pretty decent numbers with the Texans because of, really good target share, air yard share. You look back just at the 2021 season, the dude had a 26.9% team target share, which was top 10 in the NFL. So, the dude can be a target hog wide receiver. And, Michael Gallup never really stays healthy for an entire season for the Cowboys. So, Brandon Cooks is going to be the clear-cut wide receiver 2 on this team behind CeeDee Lamb. And there's a chance that he sees even more deep targets than CeeDee Lamb. This guy is known for his ability to get open downfield because of his tremendous speed. He could burn CeeDee Lamb in a foot race. So there is a chance that he ends up being the deep alpha threat for this team as far as the majority of deep targets. Now, CeeDee Lamb's going to beat him as far as overall fantasy production just because of the ridiculous target share that he's going to get. And Brandon Cooks is going to receive probably a 22% target share in this offense, but the ceiling is him receiving like a 24-25% target share in this offense. If the target share balloons up to that number, Brandon Cooks has a tremendously high season-long ceiling, even with a 22% target share, which is roughly what I think he's going to get. He has a tremendously high weekly ceiling and a great season-long ceiling. It's going to be a little bit volatile from week to week as far as his production because CeeDee Lamb's going to be really the only guaranteed wide receiver on the team. But this Cowboys offense plays at a very fast pace. They put a ton of points on the board, and Brandon Cooks is going to have a handful of weeks this year where he absolutely explodes. Considering the fact that you can get him later in drafts, the value here is amazing. Next player on my list is Christian Watson. Now, a lot of people are going to be concerned about the fact that Aaron Rodgers is gone. And, to a degree, I understand that argument, but what we got with Christian Watson is, a guy whose athletic intangibles are second to none, right? 6'5", runs a 4.3. You look at last season, you look at his efficiency, 2.4 yards per route run, which is top 12 in the NFL. And I talk about this all the time on my channel. Like, if you are a receiver that you come out and you post great yards per route run efficiency in your first season in the league, you are going to see a significant bump in target share and overall production the next season. We've seen it. We've seen this trend with young wide receivers in the past 2-3 years in fantasy. You look at Justin Jefferson's 2020 season. He comes out in 2020 and has 2.65 yards per route run, which was top 5 in the NFL. And he did this on a 26.5% team target share. Pretty good target share for a rookie. But what happened? When he posted that awesome yards per route run efficiency, his target share went up to 29.9% the following season. So the target share went up massively after a season of him posting awesome yards per route run efficiency. Same thing with 2021 Jamar Chase. 2021 Jamar Chase, 2.71 yards per route run, which was top 8 in the NFL. After this awesome yards per route run efficiency, he went from having a 23.7% team target share in 2021 to a 29.3% target share in 2022. So we're seeing a trend here with these young wide receivers that have extreme levels of athleticism and talent and have high draft capital. Yes, Christian Watson does have high draft capital, although he wasn't a first-round pick. He was taken at the beginning of round 2. That is still high draft capital in the grand scheme of things. So if you combine high draft capital with extreme athleticism and awesome yards per route run efficiency, you will undoubtedly see a significant bump in target share the following season. So anybody that was concerned that Christian Watson's targets weren't, up there last season, his targets will go up this year without a shadow of a doubt because of the combination of the draft capital, the awesome athleticism, and the awesome yards per route run efficiency that he posted last season. The targets are going to be there. A lot of this offense is going to run through Christian Watson. Obviously, they've got some good running backs in the backfield to help the overall efficiency of the offense and give Christian Watson good touchdown upside. He's also going to be used on some run plays and some jet sweeps. So there's a chance that he comes out and has 2 or 3 rushing touchdowns this season. It's certainly possible. So the ceiling for this guy is tremendously high. I wouldn't worry about the fact that Aaron Rodgers is gone. I think that Jordan Love is an underrated quarterback, and I think he's a guy that can come out and, produce actually pretty good numbers for Christian Watson. Next and final player on my list is going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, obviously, out of all the wide receivers I have on this list, you're going to have to take Amon-Ra St. Brown way higher than any of them. But you look at last season, he had a 28.1% team target share, which was 11th in the NFL, 2.57 yards per route run, top 9 in the NFL. This dude had a 52.8% route win rate. So this was second in the entire NFL. He won routes at a higher clip than every other wide receiver in the NFL besides one. He was the second best wide receiver as far as route wins in the entire league. This dude is an incredible route runner, and it shows in the numbers and the analytics. Dude had 1,161 receiving yards, top 10 in the NFL, 513 yards after the catch. So not only does he run incredible routes, not only does he create great cushion for Jared Goff to get him the ball, but he has the ability to run after the catch like some of the best players in the entire NFL, right? So considering the fact that he has elite route running and elite target share and awesome run after the catch abilities, I love him in this offense. And here's what you really got to keep in mind with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to open up more deep targets for Amon-Ra St. Brown this season, okay? Amon-Ra St. Brown is a guy who he doesn't really have elite speed, but he is an elite route runner, and he still has good speed. So what this means is he needs somebody catching passes over the middle of the field to open up those deep targets for him, because he can't just burn by everybody. But with Jahmyr Gibbs lining up in the slot, lining up outside, lining up in the backfield, and catching passes out of the slot, and just kind of moving all around the field, catching passes over the middle of the field, this is going to create a distraction for the defenses, and it's going to allow Amon-Ra St. Brown to actually get open downfield. And that's the one thing that Amon-Ra really has been lacking so far in his fantasy career, is a lot of deep targets and a lot of deep ball receptions and deep ball scoring, right? So now that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to provide a distraction over the middle of the field and in the short and intermediate routes, it's going to allow Amon-Ra St. Brown to get open downfield. He's going to be absolutely dangerous with this newfound deep ball pass catching ability because of what Jahmyr Gibbs is going to allow the offense to do. So I love Amon-Ra St. Brown this season. I think he's going to explode and have his best season yet. And this dude's going to be an absolute beast. He's a league winner. All right, guys. Appreciate you tuning into today's video. Catch you later.